Good morning, boys and girls. Now, today's story is all about a man named John the Baptist. Now, John the Baptist is actually Jesus's biological cousin, right? So, Mary has a sister named Elizabeth, and they were actually both pregnant at the same time. So Mary was pregnant with Jesus, and Elizabeth was pregnant with John. And it actually says that when they were both pregnant and they walked out to each other, the babies both sort of like leapt for joy in each other's wombs when they were close to each other. So that's kind of like the origin story of John the Baptist. But here's the thing, when John the Baptist got older, the reason he's known as John the Baptist is he would baptize people in the river, and he took the Jewish faith extremely seriously. So a lot of times we talk about the Pharisees and how the Pharisees, right, were very legalistic and they didn't really care about God or didn't care about people. Well, that was not John the Baptist. John the Baptist loved God and he loved people, right? And the way that John is described is that John was preparing the way for Jesus. He was unknowingly, right? Because John the Baptist couldn't like see the future, but God was using John the Baptist to prepare people's hearts for the arrival of Jesus, right? John was getting them ready. He was telling them what the truth of the Jewish religion was all about, as opposed to what the Pharisees were saying. John the Baptist was all about getting to the heart of the Jewish religion, which then Jesus would take it even further, right? And now here's the thing about John the Baptist, too. John the Baptist lived in the wilderness. And I don't think it would be too much of a stretch to say that he was like a wild man, right? He was a wild man. If you want to picture John the Baptist, okay, picture this. His clothes were made out of camel hair, right? And so it's all coarse and itchy, and maybe it even looks like a big fur jacket. And then he has a big beard. And what do you think John the Baptist ate? What did his diet consist of? It consisted of locusts, which are like grasshoppers, and honey. It says in the Bible that's what John the Baptist would eat, locusts and honey. So John the Baptist was seen, right? So we have that picture of John the Baptist, this wild man. And then whenever you picture the Pharisees, what I want you to picture is like very prim and proper and fancy clothes and well trimmed beards, and they only ate the best food that was appropriate to eat, right? Those are the Pharisees. And so these are the two pictures. And from the outside, we might think, oh, the Pharisees are the ones who have it in order. They're the ones who like know what they're doing. John the Baptist, he kind of looks crazy, right? He looks like something's wrong with him. But in reality, God, remember, doesn't look at the outside of a person. He looks at their heart. And John the Baptist had a great heart who loved God and loved people, while the Pharisees had a hard heart, right? So it's not about what's on the outside or what someone looks like. So that's just kind of an introduction to John the Baptist. It's good to know about him because he'll come up later when we talk more about Jesus and Jesus' story. But the other really cool thing about John the Baptist, even though he was preparing the way for Jesus, do you know who baptized Jesus? It was John, right? Jesus humbled himself, even though Jesus was the one that John was preparing the way for. Jesus humbled himself to be baptized by John. So that's pretty cool. So that's just a little introduction to John the Baptist. He is such a great Bible character, and I hope that you love him as much as I do. So that's the story for today. I'll talk with you next week. I hope you're doing well. Bye bye.